Hello, everyone. Welcome to What's Brewing. Before we start, I would like to say that I really hope and wish that all of you are keeping safe and that all of you are taking vaccination seriously. And those of you who have not been able to get vaccinated have at least registered for vaccination. With that said, let us talk about our guest today. He's someone who has founded a startup known as FanGame, which is into online gaming. So let us talk to Bharat Gupta to know more. Hi, Bharat. Nice to have you here. In fact, I wanted to connect with you even earlier, but because of COVID and everything, we had to delay the plan. But nevertheless, it's never too late. So, why don't we just get started? I mean, tell us about your startup and how did you come up with the idea?
Sure, sure. Thank you, Meha. It is really nice connecting with you. Uh, and yeah, and of course, we could have we wanted to do this earlier, but we couldn't. So, in a nutshell, let me explain what we do. So, we let social media influencers monetize through mobile games on our platform. We work with micro and mid-tier influencers and creators, uh, and we let them host game shows on our platform. Right? These game shows are typically live stream quiz-based game shows. Right? So imagine every influencer having their own KBC show being done on the platform. Right? So we do like multiple, like hundreds of game shows in a week, where we get these influencers to monetize. Each of the participants comes and play with the actually pay with money, and the winner takes the cash rewards as well. Right? So that's in a nutshell what we're building. Uh, to start with, why we're doing this, we are actually, so, last year we were looking at multiple things that, in the influencer space and the gaming space. What we've realized is that the micro and mid-tier influencers are heavily underserved or heavily undermonetized, right? If you look at the influencer spectrum, right, the top ones are the ones who are actually making money, but the bottom ones don't make money. They get like brand deals from fewer brands, like Domino's telling them, "Ki promote my brand and take like a free coupon," right? So the bottom influencers, right, the micro and mid-tier influencers, they are the ones who are actually not able to make money, right? So we help these guys make money by letting them host game shows on our platform, right? So essentially, these influencers get people, their own fans and followers onto our game shows, right? These fans and followers pay a small entry fee, and thus we create a prize pool, which gets distributed between the players, the influencers, and us. Right? That's in a nutshell on how we operate.
Got it. A few questions. One is how do you onboard these influencers, and how do these influencers in turn bring in their own, circle of people or their fans, etc.
Right, right, right. So we work with, so yeah, we initially we hustled a lot. We spoke to these through my personal connections, through our personal connections. We were reaching out to these people, but now we are working with a lot of these influencer marketing agencies, and we onboard these influencers at scale. So we work with, let's say, about 100, 150 influencers in a month, new influencers. So we onboard around 200, 150 influencers in a month, right? And the way these guys promote is through their own social media channels, right? They would put up stories on their Instagram. They would create videos on YouTube. They have their own fan groups on Telegram, on WhatsApp. They promote us there. They have their own Twitter channels. So they essentially host the game show on our platform, and they advertise this game show on multiple of the on all their social media channels, and that's how they get their fans and followers to join in.
And if I can just ask you, like, how many games on an average are played on your platform on a daily basis?
Uh, on a daily basis, we're doing 21 game shows, right? But we want to actually quickly reach to a level where we start doing 100 game shows in a day, right? So we are looking to onboard influencers very fairly quickly. So we are creating a self-serve platform wherein we'll be able to onboard close to 200 influencers in a week, right? So it is just about that couple of products that we are building, and we should be able to onboard a lot more influencers and run like 100 game shows a day. And in one game show, so we typically get around 2 to 300 people, right? In some of the game shows, we've seen like 5,000 people playing at once, 3,000 people playing at once, right? It's pretty, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Which is the most popular category when it comes to games on your platform?
Yeah, so we've seen a lot, but typically, so Bollywood and TV works. But to our surprise, what we've seen is that gaming is working really well. People love PUBG. People love So we get a lot of fashion and beauty lifestyle influences. So beauty and fashion as a category also works really well. Uh, yeah. So I think anything which is popular on Instagram or YouTube, you'd see a quiz happening on our platform for that, and people engaging with that kind of content.
Okay. Is there a possibility to see Derek O'Brien or people like Siddharth Basu on your platform someday?
Yeah, of course, we want all of these guys to be on our platform, but they are taking a lot of money right now, so they're too expensive. So we can't afford them, honestly. But yeah, so there is a plan. So we are working with some of the, I won't reveal names, but we are working with some of the top names uh, in the influencer circuit, right? Top comedians, top cricketers, some of the quiz hosts as well, who are who will not just be hosting game shows, but they might be our brand ambassadors very soon.
Oh,
So probably in a few months, you'll see some of the big names hosting game shows on our platform.
eager to see. I'll be watching this space. So, if I can ask
Right.
you, where do you see the maximum traction or audience coming from? Is there any categorization that you see, any segmentation? Ki maximum people are coming from tier one, tier two? What is the demographic looking like?
Yeah. So for us, the tier two, tier three, tier four cities of India have been worked really well. We are not as popular in Delhi, Bombay, but we are very popular in small towns of Odisha, Jharkhand, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, right? Most of our influencers also have a very strong pull in these regions, right? So we get a lot of influencers who are very popular in these regions, right? So TikTokers from Punjab are doing really well, from Uttarakhand, YouTubers from Jharkhand and Odisha are doing really well. So essentially, it depends on the influencer. But for us, tier three, tier four towns are the ones which are more popular, as so to say, and than the tier one cities, right? If you look at one of the reports from KPMG, right, that report clearly said the real money games is far more popular in tier four cities, tier three cities as compared to the metro cities. In a metro city, typically people will spend 250 to 300 rupees in a month on such games, right? But if you go to like tier three, tier four towns, that number is shockingly high, which is about 850 to 900 is what a tier three, tier four guy spends on real money games, right? The thing is that for them, this is the entertainment, right? Working with For them, this is like they are much more inclined towards doing this because for them, social media is the entertainment, right? Uh, tier one, probably metro city folks have multiple other ways of getting entertained, but for them, this is the entertainment, and we see a lot more success, right? Which you'll also see in the likes of MPL on Dream 11, right? Which are very popular in tier three, tier four towns.
How do you get this idea? Like, why did you decide this niche that you have to be in this niche? And what was very lucrative about it?
So couple of things. So I worked in consumer internet space, right? So I worked in so I was in Paytm for the first half, a large part of my stint. I was heading growth for the consumer internet businesses of Paytm, not everything, but part of it, right? So I could see what are the consumer trends happening in the gaming industry or in the entertainment industry, right? At the same time, we were looking at some of the platforms which are very popular through who have done well through influencer led gaming, right? Not gaming, but influencer led platforms, right? Such as Bulbul, such as Cameo, which have done really well in US, right? While we were looking at it, what we saw is that there is one key problem in gaming platforms, which is high cost of acquisition, right? Cost of acquisition is pretty high, right? And on the other hand, you're seeing so many influencers who are under monetized, but they have the power to bring in virality to any platform, right? And these two things, led us to believe that and these are two very new trends, right? The demand for real money gaming has soared in last 2, 3 years. Similarly, micro mid-tier influencers have swelled up in last 3, 4 years, right? So these two factors, clearly told us that there is a gap, which is so there is a supply gap and there's a demand gap. We can fill it with these two, and that's what led us to do this. Right? It was clearly timing. Secondly, the right set of co-founders. So the co-founder I'm working with, Pritesh Kumar, he's an IT Delhi graduate in computer science, class of 2013. Excellent guy, close friend. So we've been bouncing off ideas on different kinds of businesses that we can build for last 4 5 years. And early last year is when we decided, yeah, this seems fine. I think there's a lot of scope where we can do this, and the market timing seems right. And we just decided to take a leap of faith and do this.
How easy or how difficult was it to decide to leave a lucrative job, a secure job, and then foray into this uncertain world of startup? I'm asking because you have fair amount of experience and not many people are able to transition. There is always a barrier to it.
Right, right. Yeah, so honestly, it's not easy, right? So I have over 10 years of work experience in the corporate industry. It's not easy. Uh, the thing is that sometimes ambition takes the better of you than what you are doing right now, right? I've always wanted to build things which have like bigger impact in the industry, in the world, in the in my country or in the community itself, right? And with the jobs or the stints that I've done, I was not able to do it. It was not fulfilling. So I felt like I had to do something, and that was one of the biggest trigger, right? So I had ambitions to make bigger impact on with my work, right? So that was one of the big impact. Secondly, it's always risky, right? So I've been thinking about doing multiple the thing. Even before my MBA, I was doing a startup. But I was in a wanapreneur mode rather than an entrepreneur mode back then. So I did not know what are the right things to do. But post MBA, with another 5 6 years of experience, I got a lot of expertise on how to run large scale businesses, which is becoming very useful in the business that I'm doing right now. So it's not easy, but yeah, it's not easy. You have at some point of time you have to take that leap of faith, and the timing seemed right for me to do this.
I was reading somewhere about YC as well. So, what has your experience?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think we were very lucky to get into the Y Combinator cohort of Winter 21. And we started in August and we got in there in October. Uh, I think the experience has been massively, it has had a great impact on our thinking, at least, right? So we got to meet like like the Dropbox CEO, Airbnb CEO, Stripe CEO, TCO of Twitch, right? You get to learn from their mistakes. So when they were at our stage, they made similar mistakes, right? So they tell you that don't do this or probably do this better, right? So you get to learn a lot, right? Instead of all, apart from the VC community that they expose to, there's a lot of learning that they expose you to, which I thought was very helpful, right? And and I think there's one statement that they say that make things that people want, right? That I think has stuck by me for some time now, right? You should always talk to your customers, right? See what they want, and always make things that people want, add value to their lives, and hence you'll be able to bring great products. So it has helped us bring structure to our thinking, organized our thinking, added value to our what we are trying to build, and definitely has helped us build great connections. So my experience has been like 6 on 5, uh, and yeah.
So,
I say that we were lucky enough to get into that cohort.
So now I'm curious to ask, there are two questions that come to my mind. A, are you still in touch with those founders? Like, is it like only for that duration that you are in touch and you get the mentorship, or do you get even later? And B, when you talk about talking to customers, okay, I'm a product manager myself, and I realize that
Right.
we want to do the amount of research and talking to customer and reaching out to them, but unfortunately, because of time constraint or whatever, you're not able to do enough. So how do you ensure
Right.
you are actually building something what the customer wants and not what you think the customer wants?
Absolutely. That's a great point. So let me answer the first question first. I'm still in touch with a lot of those co-founders, all our partners also, right? The YC partners also, the founders also. It's a small knit community. We're really helpful community. We help out each other for in terms of connections, in terms of VC connections, anything, right? In terms of businesses as well, there are a lot of B2B companies there. So all the community of YC is very closely knit and very connected. So yeah, so I do maintain a lot of connections with them. In terms of talking to customers, right? I think that this is something that we've ingrained in our company as well. Right before our sprint planning, right? There's an exercise that we do right before our sprint planning so we do our sprint planning on Tuesday. On Monday, everybody in the company has to make calls from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. to customers and understand what they are doing. So, for example, what are they doing, what are they liking, what are they not liking, what is their feedback on the features that we've built, etc. So the whole company knows what is going on ground, right? So everybody breathes the customer's voice. This helps us chart out the products that we want to build in the next version, right? So everybody puts in their own points. We do a large meeting wherein everybody says that this is the feedback from a customer. We should build this, right? Then you have a long list of things, and then we divide it into multiple areas which are easy to do, difficult to do, and medium difficult to do, and we try and prioritize these things. So uh, it has to come, like, it has to come with habit, and we try and ingrain that habit in our company as well.
Okay. So that brings me to another point.
Right.
What are the traits you look for when you hire people at a very early stage?
Yeah. So for me, a personality trait is not that important. So there are two things that which I look at, right? In terms of personality, one is ownership, and the second is strive towards excellence, right? If people are owning their work, right, in whatever they do, right, if they're owning their work, then I think that's a good candidate that can compensate for the less skills that somebody has, right? And striving for excellence is very important. People should not want to do, like, it's a job. Let's just finish it, right? They want to do the best in their own line of work, right? These are the two qualities I look for in personality. Uh, Thirdly, I so in the at least at this stage, we are looking for specialists and not for generalists, right? When I say specialist, everybody who's doing their own piece of work, right? For example, content, be it front end developer, DevOps, even HR, or talking to influencers, uh, analytics, right? Everybody should be better than me in their own job, right? uh, and that's the kind of excellence or speciality that they should be able to bring, right? If they own, if they read enough, right, if they bring excellence to their work, they should be doing better than what I can do, right? Given the years of experience I've spent across these things. So special skills are important for us, and especially, like, people should own their work and should be very good at what they're doing. These are the skills I think are more important to us right now.
What has been the biggest milestone that you as a startup team has achieved?
uh, Yeah, a few things. So one, of course, getting into Y Combinator program so early was one big achievement that we had, right? Uh, we we launched our app somewhere in December, and in a matter of, I think, 2 to 3 weeks, we were getting 3,000 people in our one game show, right? And we scaled very massively, very quickly, right? So I think that was one big achievement that we were able to do, right? Uh, Third, I would say I'm very proud of the team that we've built, right? They all come from, like, pedigree colleges, etc. But uh, the team is takes a lot of ownership. They are pushing me to do something rather than me pushing them to do something. So the culture is very good, and I think one of the bigger achievements is the kind of team that we've built here at Fanplay. And What else? I think we've done fundraisers, etc., but I won't count them as successful achievements. I would rather say that one of our influencers was hosting a show, and it had about 1,000 people, and people were just like, "Wow, we are liking your game show, etc." So this influencer had never done this, right? She had never hosted this such a game show, and by the end of the game show, she said, "I don't want any money. I love doing this. I love what you guys are doing." Right. So although we had a commercial agreement with her, but she said, "No, I don't want it. I just want to do this again and again." So I think that point we realized that this is something that our creators are really liking, and that's something I want to carry forward. And those are the achievements that I would rather say were good. And some of these, and we do get calls and messages from users that uh, so we do live streaming game shows, right? I'll tell you an anecdote. So we people get 1.5 GB data for free, right, in a daily basis in Geo or Airtel. They say, please, after playing like 10, 12 games, so they're like, we have ran out of data, but we want to play more games. So can you please introduce games which do not consume so much data? I'm like, we are watching live stream, so it is going to bound to happen. So, but people love playing in our games as well. So, I think doing right by customers and our influencer partners and seeing them achieve on this platform, I think that's one of the key successes, I would say.
Hmm. Okay, so your startup is really doing well, but still, I mean, because
Yeah.
things really are uncertain. So I just want to know your view as a founder or as a person that in case things don't work out the way you wanted to, do you have
Right.
plan B or did you come in this startup world with a plan B? Or is it important to have plan B or no plan at all? What type of a person are you?
Yeah, I honestly, so there's one thing I honestly feel, uh, I honestly feel this way that there should not be a plan B. If you have made a plan B, then you've thought that plan A might not work, right? You have not built that conviction in plan A, right? So, failure should not be an option, right? So, my, at Urban Ladder, Ashish, there were tough times at Urban Ladder, and Ashish, in one of the speeches in a closed group, he said, yeah, we'll fail when you think of failure as an option, but failure is not an option. When failure is not an option, then you will do everything to make it succeed, right? If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, right? So, if you start thinking about backups, plan Bs, then you're not convinced in plan A, then you're not doing right by your planning, right? So, I think I am sort of the person who will always give 100% to plan A, and then if it doesn't work out, then we'll think about another plan, but it will not be a plan B.
In fact, I totally agree to this one because I've had similar
Right.
experiences, not as a founder, but yeah, whenever I have kind of a plan B, I think my motivation is also slightly low. And plus, I feel that there is a
Right.
factor that I may fail
Right. Right.
something, to rely.
Right.
Okay. Other than entrepreneurship and your startup, what keeps you occupied?
Uh, so I love playing football. I love watching football. So I'm a big sports fanatic. I used to play in school. I used to play in college. So I play every time, every chance I get to play football or this thing. I run a gaming company. I'm also an avid gamer. So I play console games. So that keeps me occupied. Uh, Also, you know, on the side, I love anything which is more innovative in tech, right? So I love looking at and reading about things. So advancements in AR and VR are pretty exciting, right? There are now body suits which can mimic the gaming world environment and it can feel in your body, right? So you can wear a bodysuit and you can feel what the person is feeling in the AR VR environment. So there are a lot of technological advancements that are happening, which are really exciting, and I keep reading about that. I can't do much in my as an entrepreneur. I would love to have been there, but maybe sometime in the future.
And what is your next big goal that you want to achieve? Personal, professional, whatever.
Here, uh, I it's personal, professional, both. I would say I want to build something which impacts at least not a million, at least a millions of users in a positive way, right? We want to build something which is impacting masses and in the right way, not in the not. We could do other things as well, but impact which is big and at least a million users, right? For us right now, the way we see it is, at least professionally, we want to make our creators successful. That is where we feel the value is people are under monetized. They're not able to do justice to their craft. People who love playing music, etc., but they're not able to do justice to the skills that they have in music. So we want to do right by creators, and we want to make at least a million people successful in their life, and that's our goal.
Whoa. I really wish that this goal you are able to achieve. And I'm pretty
Right.
excited about your app, about your product
Thank
myself.
you. Thank you.
Try out after this call. And honestly, I really enjoyed this conversation. In fact, I can just go on asking you more questions, but because of time constraint,
Uh,
we have to end it. But it was
right.
really nice talking to you. And I really wish
Same
you
here.
all the very best. I would really want to connect with you once your startup grows so that I
Sure.
have more updates from you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was really nice, chatting with you. Thanks for having me on your channel. And yeah, let's. I'd love to do probably some next time if I have more updates.
Sure, sure, sure. We'll connect very soon. Thank you so much for your time.
All right.